Hey everyone, real quick before we dive into today's video, let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you struggle with your mindset or some of the habits that you have? Or are you currently seeking to learn and grow and getting as much personal development in your life as possible but don't know where to begin? If that sounds like you or someone you know, please send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Or you can email me at chris.mccarthy@genesis2revelations.com. And I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you to see where I can help you. With that, let's jump into today's video.
Anxiety does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows, but only empties today of its strengths. Charles Spurgeon. Welcome everybody to the podcast. Like I always do, let's get into some gratitude time. What are you grateful for today? What did you wake up and go, man, I am really grateful for blank? Take a second and think about it. Because today, I am grateful for the knowledge I have attained to help me overcome obstacles in my life. So in case you haven't caught it, I like to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse into what we're going to be talking about with the quote. Today we're going to be talking about anxiety. I know it's a big thing right now. A lot of people are having anxiety. I know I've had anxiety in the last couple months here and there. Anxiety is emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes like increased blood pressure. People with anxiety disorders usually have recurring intrusive thoughts or concern. They may avoid certain situations out of worry. They may also have physical symptoms such as sweating, trembling, dizziness, or a rapid heartbeat. While anxiety can cause distress, it is not always a medical condition. Since the earliest days of humanity, the approach of predators and incoming danger sets off alarms in the body and allows evasive action. These alarms become noticeable in the form of a raised heartbeat, sweating, increased sensitivity to surroundings. The danger causes a rush of adrenaline, a hormone and chemical messenger in the brain, which in turn triggers these anxious reactions in the process called fight or flight. This prepares the human to physically confront or flee any potential threats to safety. Now, a lot of us have kind of dealt with fight or flight. It's in our everyday lives. A lot now. It's more with irrational fears than the impending doom of threat of death or injury or other things coming. But we still have anxiety. You know, even if we do go on a roller coaster, there's the threat of death and fear. And so some ways to help with anxiety, self-treatment that you can do is stress management. Learning how to manage your stress, learning how to limit potential triggers and organize any upcoming pressures and deadlines. Just make those tasks more manageable and commit time to, working on them or studying so that you don't feel so much pressure towards the end because you've been procrastinating. Do some relaxation. Simple activities can help soothe the mental and physical signs of anxiety. Some techniques include meditation, deep breathing, long baths, or resting in the dark, and sometimes yoga. Exercise. Exercising helps you replace negative thoughts with positive. Make a list of negative thoughts that might be cycling as a result of the anxiety, and write down another list next to it containing positive, believable thoughts to replace them. What you're doing is you're not deleting anything, you're replacing. So when you have the negative thought of, I'm not worthy, replace it with, I am worthy. Because the words that you tell yourself have powerful meaning. Your brain can't really decipher between I can't and I can as far as it being positive or negative. It just knows when you tell it I can't do something, it starts to believe it can't do it. Another one you can do is create a support network. Talk with familiar people and family who are supportive, such as a family member or friend. Support group services may also be available in your area. You just have to search them out. There are kind of like Anxiety Anonymous, kind of like an AA for alcoholism, but there also are network groups for anxiety, stress, depression, and other things. I'm sure that there's some in your network. You just got to look for them. And exercise, like we said, but exercising to replace the negative thoughts with positive ones helps as well. So those are some self-treatments that you can do. You can also look into counseling. Counseling is a standard way of treating anxiety with a psychologist. You can also include cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy, or a combination of all the therapies. There's also EMDR, I believe it's called, or EDR. Yeah, it's EMDR. There's that therapy. There is the CBT. There's a lot of different ways to combat anxiety. Meditation is a big one. If you go to a group that does group meditation, group therapy, you can also do counseling that way. Yoga, I believe, is a form of counseling. It's more of a exercise kind of counseling group, but you will find people in the yoga studios and stuff that also tend to gravitate towards these types of professions and or therapy. So, and then last, I really kind of strive away from this one is like a last resort, but medication can help. Some people, it is the only way. After they've exhausted all the other ways to do it, medication is a way to manage the anxiety. But I strongly encourage you to seek that as the last resort. Now, there are ways to help reduce and prevent anxiety. Remember that anxiety feelings are a natural factor of daily life, and experiencing them does not always indicate the presence of a mental health disorder. Many people can feel anxiety without ever really having a mental health disorder. Now, I'm not saying that mental health isn't real, or the disorders aren't real, but not everyone has them. I myself believe that I do not have mental health disorders. I do experience anxiety from time to time. I do experience depression from time to time. But I feel that my mental health is in very good condition. So that is what I mean by not everyone has the presence of a mental health disorder. Taking that into account, here's some following steps that you can do to help. Reduce intake of caffeine, tea, soda, and chocolate. A lot of these have sugar and caffeine in them that will raise your blood pressure, that will cause you to have anxiety and anxiety-like symptoms. I know some people are very sensitive to caffeine. I know my wife is. Me, on the other hand, can drink I could drink a Rockstar and go take a nap. Caffeine does not affect me very much. Also, before using over-the-counter or herbal remedies, check with a doctor for any chemicals that may make the anxiety worse. But you can use herbal remedies. You can use over-the-counter medication. Maintain a healthy diet. Food, first and foremost, is one of the most important things to help anything in our life. Our bodies, our mental health, everything starts with food in the gut. Our gut is very important. And so maintaining a healthy diet, having the appropriate fats, the appropriate carbs, the appropriate proteins, because there are crappy versions of all of those, but there are also natural good versions of fats, proteins, and carbs that we should take. Bad carbs are like donuts and cookies and breads. Bad fats are like, candy bars, ice cream. Although there are some ice cream that's fine, but the point is maintain a healthy diet. Keep a regular sleep pattern. Sleep is very important to mental health. Sleep, if you haven't listened to my other podcast about sleep, I recommend you go listen to that. But sleep is something that helps our body stay in tip-top shape. It helps our mind stay clear and focused. And to really help with anxiety, you should sleep regularly. And last, avoid cannabis, alcohol, and other recreational drugs. Now, when I say avoid cannabis, that's kind of a double-edged sword, because some people, cannabis actually reduces anxiety, and in other people, it heightens it. I think it really just comes down to the user. I'm a very strong believer in cannabis. I think cannabis has a lot of health properties and a lot of things that can help. But just like with any medication or herb or anything that helps with remedies, some people react differently to it. So if you're somebody who actively uses cannabis and it helps, continue doing it. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm telling you to avoid it if it does cause anxiety. Same with alcohol. Alcohol is just a bad thing in general. Speaking as somebody who used to be an alcoholic, it is one of the worst toxic things for your body. Now, if we were to dive into the subject of wine, that's a little bit different. I think wine is not as bad. I think there's a lot of health benefits to wine, but like with everything, you need to do it in moderation. Don't be getting drunk off wine every night. If you want to have a glass of wine at dinner and that's it, I think that's perfectly okay. I think that's okay. Again, when I talk about avoiding alcohol, cannabis, and these other things, it's one, if it affects you in a way that causes anxiety, that's why I'm telling you to stop. If it is something that you are okay with and you've experimented with and you understand it and know how it affects you, I'm not telling you to stop. Okay? So there's my disclaimer for you on that. Because I do believe that there are certain things in the world that have been so demonized and really just hit on as being just pure evil that I think people need to chill out and realize that it's not as bad as you're making it sound. So that's my 2 cents on that. Moving on, let's get into some Q&A reflection time to really dive in and really think about what we've been talking about today. So, are there some things you can do to reduce anxiety? What new habits are you going to do to reduce anxiety if you already have anxiety? And what was most useful in this information for you? Afterwards, if you journal, maybe go journal about your anxiety. Maybe you can find some answers that really help you and make you understand what triggers your anxiety and what you can do to reduce it. So, again, this was one of the questions on the poll that I put up on Instagram. I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time to answer that poll and give me some insight into what you guys are looking into. And I cannot thank you guys enough. I'm so grateful for all of you that share the posts, that share these things out to your friends. Because without you guys, I would just be a guy talking into a mic. And it makes me so grateful that there are people out there that are getting such good use of this information, that they're really just absorbing this and it's helping them. I get messages all the time from the followers and you guys that have listened to this, and it makes me fulfilled that it's seeing that it's helping you guys. And this is what keeps me going. This is what keeps me on that path forward to give this stuff to you guys, to really go and find this information to present to you and help you in any way that I can. So, again, thank you, and I appreciate you. With that, I hope you guys got something out of this. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and see you next episode.